Oh man, don't you just love Nintendo games? I'd say right around the time that the Wii's life was ending is when I started actually keeping up with Nintendo and being like a huge Nintendo fan, all the way through the dreaded Wii U era of Nintendo until now, during the Switch era, where everybody wants to act like Nintendo has always been the greatest, most wonderful thing in the world, when they have definitely not been. Nevertheless, though, I was still one of 3 people to buy a Wii U, that being myself, my friend Corbin, and of course Scott the Woz. So, I've been consistent. But even still, I love Nintendo. I've had a lot of fun with the Switch over the past few years, and I'm really looking forward to what they will be doing this year. So yeah, without further ado, let's just go ahead and jump right into it. So this video will be broken up into 2 main sections. The first section is going to be my predictions. Included in the prediction sections is going to be 3 different categories. The first category is going to be stuff that will definitely, for sure, happen. You can quote me on them. Then I'm going to go into things that could happen. However, I have enough doubt in my mind to think that they might miss this year, or just might not happen at all. Who knows? And finally, the last section is going to be things that probably, definitely, maybe will not happen. But, if they do end up happening, because that's how Nintendo is, you can come back to this video and tell me what a dumb, stupid idiot I am. And the second main part of the video is just going to be a list of things that I want to happen this year that would make just the perfect 2024 for me from Nintendo. Alright, no more yapping. Time to get into the predictions. Alright, so first on the list of things that are definitely going to happen next year, I think is a pretty obvious one. People have spoken about this topic ad nauseum at this point. I think that this year we will see the full reveal and release of the Nintendo Switch 2. I do believe it's going to be called the Nintendo Switch 2. I don't think that they will call it something crazy. I think that they probably have learned their lesson from the Wii U, and calling it something simple is probably the best approach. As far as when the Switch 2 is probably going to hit, I'd say that maybe, if we're lucky, we'll hear about it in the January or February Direct, and then maybe release sometime before the summer. That way we can get the summer crowd of people that are going to be off from school and things like that. But who knows, it could hit at any point this year, but I do believe it will hit this year. Next on the list of definites, I have Nintendo Switch Online Expansion Pass. I believe we'll get 2 new systems this year. I think that with the Switch 2 coming out this year, it'll be a perfect opportunity for Nintendo to really sell people on the Expansion Pass that maybe, like myself, have not joined it yet. I think the 2 systems that it's going to get this year are going to be the Nintendo GameCube, of course, and the Nintendo DS. I think that Nintendo has really seen the want for GameCube games, like with the Metroid Prime remaster, and hopefully the Thousand Year Door remaster later this year will also do pretty well. I think that there's definitely demand for these games, and I think Nintendo sees that, and instead of remastering all of them, hopefully, they will just put them on the expansion pack, maybe charge for another tier. I'm not really sure, but put them on the expansion pack nonetheless, and give the people what they want. As far as the Nintendo DS is concerned, I mean, these games were playable on the Wii U eShop. I don't see why they couldn't come over to Switch 2. Just hold the Switch in a vertical position, maybe sell an accessory that puts the Joy-Cons on the opposite sides of the Switch or something like that. But nevertheless, I do think the Nintendo DS games will be coming. I think there will be some notable omissions which will make people upset, like the Pokemon games and things like that. But yeah, so next on my list of things that I have that are definitely probably going to happen this year is Metroid Prime 4. Anytime that Nintendo releases any sort of information on anything, there's always people in the comments clamoring for Metroid Prime 4. I know that I want Metroid Prime 4 a lot, so I think that whenever this game restarted development in like 2019 or whatever it was, I think at that point it probably became a Nintendo Switch 2 title, and I think definitely we will see it this year with the Switch 2 coming out. I don't see why at this point. The game has been in development for so long. I don't see why it would be, crazy to assume that we would see it this year. And another game that I think that we will see this year on the Switch 2 is a sequel to Mario Odyssey. Mario Odyssey, one of the best Nintendo Switch games in my opinion, a true classic up there with Breath of the Wild. I think at this point it's probably time for us to have another 3D Mario game. Wonder came out, Wonder was great. They've been doing so many spin-off titles. I think it's about time that we get another mainline 3D Mario game. And Odyssey was so great, and the formula that Odyssey, set up, I think is too good not to have a sequel. And lastly, on things that I know with 100% certainty will definitely happen this year, because it's happened every year since the 3DS. This year's Pokemon game will suck fucking ass. Game Freak really does not know how to make games anymore. With Scarlet and Violet, it was a disgusting, just abhorrent mess, akin to something that, the demons of the gaming industry would put out, like EA and Ubisoft, and, these people that put out unfinished, broken games. But, since it's Pokemon and it has Pikachu in it, everybody forgives it and still buys it and acts like it's, a wonderful game. But it is honestly no excuse. These games are terrible now. They've been terrible since Sun and Moon. X and Y was barely passable. And if you don't agree, well, then you're wrong. Alright, y'all, it's time for part 2 of the first section of this video. Things that could possibly be happening in 2024 from Nintendo. Let's get into it. Alright, the first 2 things I have on my list, things that have been rumored for a couple years now to come to the current Switch, but I believe that they will be coming this year for the Switch 2, and those 2 things will be a Zelda 3D collection, as well as a 3D Donkey Kong title. The Zelda 3D collection, I believe, will probably contain Wind Waker, Twilight Princess, and probably maybe Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask. Similar to the Zelda collection that's on the GameCube with all the games in it, I believe that this collection will be something similar. The doubt in my mind comes from how many games are going to be included, what games are going to be included. I definitely could see a reality where Nintendo would probably charge $60 for just Wind Waker and Twilight Princess together, or even separately. But nevertheless, who knows, maybe we will see some sort of Zelda game on the Switch this year. I think it's almost an inevitability we will. Aonuma has said that traditional Zelda formulas are dead as far as new games are concerned, so I think this would be a good opportunity for people to get that old classic Zelda fix. Also, with the Donkey Kong game this year, I think a Donkey Kong game is a decently strong rumor, and I also think that it being a 3D platformer is probably a strong rumor. We've had this rumor going around for many years at this point, and I think that, they did it with Kirby. They let Kirby go back into 3D. I think Donkey Kong going back into 3D is the next logical step to take the series in. And my final prediction for the possibly section of this video, I think that the Switch 2 will get a giant 8th generation title that wasn't available on the previous Switch. Some ideas I have for this title could be like a Rockstar game like GTA 5 or Red Dead Redemption 2. With GTA 6 on the horizon, I think it would be a perfect opportunity for them to put it on the Switch 2 and charge full price for that game again. Another title that I think would be incredible to see on the Switch 2 is Elden Ring. Elden Ring was probably my favorite game of last generation, this generation, I guess, kind of. I would consider Elden Ring an 8th generation title, but nevertheless, definitely my favorite Souls game, and I think the opportunity for more people to play this game would be incredible. This game is available pretty much on everything right now except for the Nintendo Switch. So bring it over. Why not? I think it would be great. And finally, that brings us to part 3 of the first section of this video. Things that I would like to see happen, however, they are definitely not frickin' happening. Alright, first on this list, I've got two long dormant Nintendo franchises. You know them, you love them, that we would love to see a comeback in 2024. Earthbound / Mother and F-Zero. Let's start with the Mother franchise. Of course, Mother 3 has been, begged and begged for how many years now? I mean, there was the thing in 2014 with Reggie doing the Robot Chicken sketch at E3, and where's Mother 3? And then he vaporizes the dude and everything. So Mother 3, it's obligatory at this point in all of these wishlist videos. Mother 3, come to the West. Also, an Earthbound remaster would be insanely cool. But yeah, just a return for the franchise. And any way, I think, would make people happy. F-Zero is another one of those franchises that's been long dormant. And I know that fans want and are clamoring for more games. F-Zero X and GX on the N64 and GameCube, respectively, were incredible games. I would love to see a return for this franchise. F-Zero 99 was a good little treat, but, a new game, or even, hell, at this point, a remaster, I think the fans would be happy with. Another thing that I wanted to throw in this section of things that are definitely not going to happen, but, maybe could in some realm, it was on that Microsoft leak that happened a few months ago, but Microsoft Game Pass app coming to Switch 2. I think this would be a perfect opportunity for Microsoft, and would do great for Microsoft. However, I don't think it would fare very well with Nintendo, especially if they're going to have games that are going to be available on Game Pass on their platform on the eShop. I just don't see why any competitors to Microsoft would want their app on their platform. But you never know, it could happen. And finally, since I'm extremely cynical, and, want to always just be ahead of the things that could potentially happen, and would be extremely disappointing, my last thing I have is the Switch 2 will not be backwards compatible. I think this could be a move that is very Nintendo, very out of left field. No one would ever suspect it. And it's obviously yeah, of course the Switch 2 is going to be backwards compatible. Why wouldn't it be? So that would definitely mean that Nintendo would do the opposite of what we're thinking. But I have it in this section because I genuinely do think that, the Switch 2 will be backwards compatible. I have no reason to think that it won't be. I will, and I know countless other people will be extremely disappointed if it's not. So I think Nintendo knows that, and the Switch 2 probably will be backwards compatible. And that'll conclude section 1 of the video. We're going to get into section 2 here in just a second. If you're still watching up until this point, thank you so much. It truly means a lot. Next, we're going to get into a list of things that I personally would like to see this year from Nintendo. Alright everybody, it's time for my favorite section of the video where I get to talk about the things that I love, the things that I personally want to see this year from Nintendo, and tell you all about them. So, the first thing that I would love to see this year, the Super Switch, the Switch 2, whatever it ends up being called, I would love for it to be more powerful than the 8th generation consoles. I would love if the Switch 2 could be as powerful as the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X. However, if it is at least powerful as the Series S console, I think I would be happy with that. The Series S is a great console for the price. So, if we could get something similar with the Switch hardware this year, that would be just incredible. Another thing that I would love to see from Nintendo this year, Animal Crossing New Horizons was one of my most played games on the current Switch. Probably my most played, maybe next to Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom. But I would love to see something Animal Crossing related. I know that they came out when the Happy Home Designer DLC came out and said that that was that was the end of DLC for New Horizons. But what if it wasn't? You know, what if New Horizons got more DLC, or if there was another new game? I know it's probably too soon for another Animal Crossing game this year. You know, maybe we'll see one on the Switch 2 in general, because Animal Crossing games were pretty like, you know, every system there was an Animal Crossing game. So maybe we'll see another one, but maybe it'll skip this console generation, who knows. But I would hope that there would be something Animal Crossing related that would make me incredibly happy. I'm going to rapid fire through the next 3 because this video is pretty long and, you know, I want to go ahead and kind of wrap up here. But the next 3 things I would like to see this year are a Kid Icarus remaster of Uprising, or a new entry into the series. Also, a return to some more Mario and Luigi RPGs, maybe Superstar Saga or Partners in Time would be another good one. And of course, Golden Sun with a remaster or a new game in the series. All 3 of these are things that have kind of been dormant for a while, and I know I'm not the only one that would love to see some of these return, but the reason why I put them all kind of together is remasters, or even just like a port in Kid Icarus Uprising's case, anything like that just coming to the Switch, I think would be enough right now just to gauge interest of these things, and then maybe like drive the series forward, because as it stands right now, especially with Golden Sun, I mean, Golden Sun pretty much died on the DS, so we would need like a remaster instead of, you know, a full new game. I would see that happening before like a full new game, just because, like, you know, that series has been dead for so long, but it would be nice to see it come back. And finally, this is a huge pie in the sky thing. I know we just got one. I know we'll probably get Prime 4 this year. But another 2D Metroid. Oh man, I love 2D Metroid games. They are some of my favorite games on Nintendo systems. And another 2D Metroid game would just be incredible at this point. Dread was like 10 out of 10. It was like top 1 Switch game for me. It was incredible. So if they could just do, like, I don't know, a sequel to Dread, or like, you know, I don't know, throw it anywhere in the freaking timeline, or even better, give me a full remaster of Super Metroid. That would be also just freaking awesome. I don't care what it is, any 2D Metroid except for Metroid 2, please. I do not want another Metroid 2 remake. But you know, any Metroid game I would be happy with. You know, Zero Mission maybe, remake Zero Mission or Fusion. Who cares? Just give me more 2D Metroid, Nintendo, please. I love it. Alright, y'all, that's going to do it for this video. The first video here on my channel. If you stuck around to the very end, thank you so much for watching this video, taking the time out of your day just to click on this and you know, see it through to the end. This will be, like I said, the first video on my channel, so if you did enjoy it, please, you know, comment down below, let me know what you liked, what you didn't like, what I could do differently in the future. Also, please, it would mean the world to me to drop a like, drop a subscribe on my channel. But yeah, going forward, I want to do a lot more content, not just of Nintendo, but, you know, other things and other games, and, you know, I play a whole lot of stuff. I collect stuff too, maybe some collection videos or pickups or things like that. But yeah, it definitely means a lot, and thank you again so much for watching.